A sitting member of Congress stormed a federal immigration facility, physically assaulted federal agents, and now she's shocked she got indicted. Democrat Congresswoman LaMonica McIver of New Jersey has just been indicted by a federal grand jury on 3 criminal counts for her role in a chaotic scene at an ICE facility in Newark. Her charges are 2 felony counts of assaulting and impeding federal officers, each carrying a maximum sentence of 8 years, plus a 3rd misdemeanor for interference. This wasn't civil disobedience. This was straight up political theater gone a little too violent. Welcome to Nelly Miranda. Before we get into today's video, please make sure you like and subscribe as it really helps support the channel, and tap the notification bell so you never miss an update.
Tonight, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, who challenged President Trump's deportation policies, has now been indicted on federal charges. This over a clash with law enforcement outside of the Delaney Hall ICE Detention Center in Newark last month. At the time, Newark Mayor Ras Baraka was arrested, but those charges were dropped. McIver is now charged with 3 counts of assaulting and interfering with the federal agents. In a statement tonight, McIver calls the charges a brazen attempt at political intimidation, and she intends to plead not guilty.
Now, of course, the corporate media will spin this like she was Rosa Parks at a border checkpoint. But watch the footage for yourself. Prosecutor says that she elbowed 1 federal agent in the back, used her forearms to push 2 others, and grabbed another officer to block an arrest. Now, I don't care what party you're in, you cannot be out here manhandling law enforcement just because you don't like federal immigration policies. This is not the Hunger Games. McIver, along with a delegation of far-left Democrats, showed up to the Delaney Hall ICE facility for what they called a congressional oversight visit. But here's what really happened. They brought the mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka, into a secure federal detention facility without federal clearance, and then when ICE told them to leave or face arrest, that's when things went sideways. Now, McIver reportedly tried to block the arrest using physical force.
News alert, Democrat Congresswoman LaMonica McIver has been indicted on 3 federal charges after a clash with federal agents outside a New Jersey ICE facility. Here to react, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley. Senator, this is the acting U.S. Attorney, Alina Habba, and this congresswoman charged with forcibly impeding and interfering with federal law enforcement faces a total of, she won't be in jail for 17 years, but conceivably it could be 17 years in prison. Senator, given what we're seeing play out on the streets of L.A. and what might be expanding across the country, how important is this message?
Really important, really important. It's about the rule of law. And by the way, I seem to remember, Laura, when the Democrats had Donald Trump indicted like 1 billion times on completely fake charges, they said over and over, no one's above the law. No one's above the law. Well, guess what, Dems? No one's above the law. And these are real charges because we've all seen the video. We've seen it with our own eyes. There you've got a sitting congresswoman who is assaulting, essentially, not essentially, totally, a police officer, an ICE officer, a law enforcement officer. We could see it on the tape. And we're going to see it 1 billion times because those are the facts. And if you do the crime, you ought to do the time.
So you have elected officials who think federal law doesn't apply to them, who show up at a detention center, no clearance, no respect for jurisdiction, and then physically interfere with law enforcement doing their job, all the while screaming that they too are doing their job because apparently their job outranks federal authority now. Let's be clear. Congresswoman McIver didn't just break the rules. She physically interfered with law enforcement. That's obstruction.
Well, she said in a statement that she was simply doing her job, and she's going to expose these proceedings for what they are, a brazen attempt at political intimidation, and I will be entering a plea of not guilty. Senator.
Well, listen, doing her job is to assault law enforcement officers. These Dems have lost their minds. They're going around literally, Laura, from prison to prison to try and hold hands and give hugs to terrorists and to thugs. Now they're making excuses for what's going on in L.A. while thugs burn down that city. These people are nuts. And if you assault a cop, you're a member of Congress, you assault a cop, you ought to go to jail. I'm glad they're prosecuting her. I hope this sends a message to all the thugs across the country country who are out there assaulting cops. Do the crime, do the time. It's law and order time. Donald Trump is in office now. It is law and order in America. That's what people voted for. That's what we need. That's what's going to make our streets safe again.
At least this time, there are real consequences. The U.S. Attorney for New Jersey says McIver faces 2 felony counts of assaulting and impeding federal officers, 1 misdemeanor for interference, possible prison time up to 16 years. Now, the case will now proceed through the federal court system. And if the evidence is as clear as prosecutors say it is, this could very well end in conviction. Why was McIver even there? It is important that we ask, why are elected officials spending their time storming immigration detention centers instead of fixing our broken immigration laws? This was a publicity stunt, a way to score headlines and boost her street credit with a progressive base. Because apparently doing your actual job in Congress isn't radical enough. They needed a little razzle dazzle.
You know, given due process, that they were able to use the phone, that they were able to speak to their legal representation, which we found out was not happening. But that was our reason. So despite, you know, what Republicans are saying, like, you know, about us, you know, trying to break people out of jail, that's untrue. We were not there to do that. We were there to conduct an oversight visit, which after all of this, the chaos, Kate, they gave us a tour. You know, we were all of this, we broke in, we assaulted people, all of these things that, you know, Haba is saying and Republicans are saying, but they gave us a tour and allowed us to go in and tour the facility and speak to detainees. So, you know, I would not have done anything different because, once again, the people that I represent expect from me to do my job, and that is exactly what I plan on doing, and that is what I was doing that day at Delaney Hall.
Meanwhile, we've got record numbers of illegal crossings. We've got fentanyl pouring across the borders. We got families struggling to afford groceries, and McIver is out here playing Revolution at an ICE facility. Now, let me ask you a question. What would happen if you or I elbowed a federal officer? Would we get a press conference or a prison sentence? I think the latter, because the 2-tier justice system has to stop. One set of laws for political elites and another for working Americans. Like, that's not democracy. That's tyranny with a good PR. LaMonica McIver may claim she was standing up for immigrant rights. But if the allegations are true, what she really did was stand in the way of federal law enforcement, violate the law, and turn a detention facility into a stage. Let's let the courts do their job and let the American people wake up to what's really going on in Washington. We've got a crisis at the border, and now we've got Congress members literally fighting the people trying to solve it. Now, should Congress members be arrested for interfering with ICE? And do you think this case will set a precedent or be swept under the rug? Let me know in the comments. And if you believe in the rule of law and are tired of political privilege, then make sure you like and subscribe so we can continue to expose the madness. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.